This is the story of Blue Ruin, an American thriller about a drifter named Dwight who is haunted by a violent past and consumed by grief. But when the man responsible for his family's tragedy is released from prison, Dwight sets out on a path of vengeance. So let's dive straight in. The story begins with a man named Dwight Evans taking a quiet bath in someone's house. At first it looks peaceful, but it quickly becomes clear he doesn't live there. When he hears a car pull up outside, he panics and climbs out of the window. Dwight is actually homeless and has been sneaking into the house for a moment of comfort. After leaving, he heads back to his real shelter, an old junk car parked by the beach. That's where he spends his nights. Later that evening, Dwight digs through a trash can and finds some leftover food, which he eats hungrily. Back at his car, he passes the time by reading a book before falling asleep. Early the next morning, a police officer wakes him up. She isn't there to arrest him, but she asks him to come to the station. Dwight looks worried, thinking it might be about the house he broke into, but she assures him it's something else. At the station, the officer tells Dwight news that shakes him deeply. A man who committed a double murder years ago is about to be released from prison. She warns Dwight because she wants him to be safe. The man being released is Wade Cleland, the same person responsible for killing Dwight's parents 2 decades earlier. The news leaves Dwight unsettled, and although the officer suggests he stay at the station for a while, Dwight has something else in mind. The next day, Dwight buys a map, fills his car with gas, and starts driving. The newspaper clipping given to him by the officer confirms that Wade is indeed being released after serving time for the murders. Dwight decides he needs a weapon. He visits a gun shop, but quickly realizes he doesn't have the money to buy one. He briefly considers stealing, but the store's security cameras make him hesitate. That night, while driving past a nightclub, he notices several parked cars, but no people around. Taking advantage of the quiet, he smashes a window and steals a handgun. Unfortunately, when Dwight tries to remove the lock from the gun with a crowbar, he accidentally breaks it, leaving him frustrated. Even without a working gun, he continues on his way. Soon, he reaches the Virginia State Penitentiary. Dwight waits anxiously until a limousine arrives, carrying Wade's family. Wade Cleland is released and greets his relatives with smiles. For Dwight, seeing Wade free stirs up anger and grief. He follows the family as they drive to a nearby bar to celebrate. Dwight sneaks inside the bar through the back and hides in the bathroom with a small knife. When Wade enters with his brother, Dwight hides in a stall, waiting for the right moment. After Wade's brother leaves, Dwight attacks. A short struggle follows, but Dwight manages to stab Wade in the head, killing him. He leaves the bathroom shaken and covered in blood. Outside, he tries to slash the limousine's tires, but instead cuts his own hands. Panicked, he realizes he dropped his car keys in the bathroom. To escape quickly, he jumps into the limousine and drives off, just as Wade's family discovers the body and rushes outside. As Dwight drives, he suddenly notices a passenger hiding in the back seat. It's William, the youngest member of the Cleland family. The boy nervously asks if Wade was hurt, and Dwight admits it. William then tells him that Wade was not actually the one who killed Dwight's parents. Shocked and unsure what to believe, Dwight lets the boy go. Confused and weighed down by doubt, he abandons the limo in the woods and walks away. Eventually, he finds an empty house. Inside, he cleans himself up, shaves his messy hair and beard, and changes into fresh clothes. The transformation makes him almost unrecognizable. Later that night, he flips through TV channels expecting to hear about Wade's murder, but no news reports mention it. The following day, Dwight goes to see his sister Sam. She hasn't seen him in a long time and is surprised, but happy. They sit together at a cafe, where Dwight admits what he has done. He explains how he killed Wade, thinking it was the only way to protect himself, and how strange it feels that there has been no news coverage. Sam is shocked, but also somewhat relieved, since the Clelands had haunted their lives for years. She mentions that she often sees the family limo in their old neighborhood, which always makes her angry. Dwight grows worried that the Clelands might retaliate. He asks about her children, and Sam says they are safe at home with a sitter. They rush back, fearing the worst, but the kids are unharmed. Still, Sam is furious with Dwight for putting them in danger. Dwight promises to turn himself in, but first, he wants to make sure she and the children are safe. He begs her to leave town and stay in Pittsburgh, since his car is registered at her address and the Clelands could easily find them. Sam doesn't want to abandon her home, but for the sake of her children, she finally agrees. She leaves with the kids, while Dwight stays behind. Alone in the house, Dwight prepares for the possibility of an attack. He arms himself with a pitchfork and stays awake through the night, waiting. Nothing happens at first, and he eventually relaxes, making tea and going through some old family belongings. Suddenly, he hears cars outside. Looking out the window, he sees his old junk car parked in front, a clear sign that the Clelands have come. Dwight quickly sets up a trap. He arranges the bedroom to look like someone is sleeping there, turns on lights, and leaves the faucet running to create noise. Two of the Cleland brothers break a window and sneak in. As they move cautiously upstairs, distracted by the noise, Dwight slips outside. He runs to his car, but accidentally runs over one of the brothers, Teddy. Panicked, Dwight tries to question him, asking whether the Clelands plan to attack his sister. But Teddy is unconscious. As Dwight struggles to drag the body, another brother, Carl, appears with a gun. Dwight grabs Teddy's weapon and forces Carl to back away. He shoves Teddy into the car, but Carl manages to shoot Dwight in the leg with an arrow. In pain, Dwight still manages to drive off, screaming as he escapes. The next morning, Dwight pulls over in a quiet place. He searches Teddy's body, taking his wallet, cash, and belongings before locking him in the trunk. With no other option, he uses a saw to cut off the shaft of the arrow lodged in his leg, enduring terrible pain. He then goes to a pharmacy to buy supplies and tries to remove the remaining piece himself, but the pain is overwhelming. Eventually, he staggers into a hospital and begs for help before collapsing. When he wakes up, he's in a hospital bed, his wound stitched and treated. After getting stitched up in the hospital, Dwight slips out quietly before anyone notices. He heads back to his car, where Teddy has regained consciousness in the trunk and is begging to be let out. Dwight ignores him. On the way, he changes out of his hospital clothes with some donated clothes, then goes to his sister's house. He cleans up the place, fixes the broken window from the Clelands' attack, and makes it look less chaotic. Later, Dwight sits in his car flipping through his old high school yearbook. Teddy keeps yelling from the trunk, but Dwight doesn't answer. He mutters that he won't release him unless he gets a gun. Looking through the yearbook, he spots a picture of his old friend Ben, who used to be in the military, and decides to find him. Dwight visits Ben's old house and meets Ben's mother. She hasn't seen him in years, but still remembers him. She gives Dwight her son's current address, and even invites him in for tea before sending him on his way. Dwight thanks her and leaves. He finds Ben working at a nightclub. After his shift, Dwight approaches him. Ben is shocked to see him alive since he once made missing posters for him. Dwight doesn't explain much. He just says he needs help, specifically a gun. Ben brings him back to his house. Though unsure what Dwight is planning, Ben decides not to ask questions. He hands him a rifle, but insists Dwight should at least know how to use it. Dwight hesitates, then agrees, and Ben shows him some basics. They share an unspoken bond, Ben sensing Dwight is carrying heavy pain. Back at the car, Dwight finally opens the trunk and talks to Teddy. He asks if the Clelands came for him or his sister. Teddy says they only came for Dwight. When asked why they didn't involve the police, Teddy explains the family prefers to handle things privately. Dwight, drained, says he'll turn himself in, but Teddy tells him it won't erase Wade's death. Dwight then asks about what William had said earlier, that Wade wasn't the killer. Teddy confirms it. It wasn't Wade, but their father, Big Wade, who murdered Dwight's parents after learning about an affair between Dwight's father and his wife. Dwight's mother wasn't even the target. She just happened to be there. To protect Big Wade, who had cancer, his son Wade took the blame. Dwight, blinded by revenge, had killed the wrong man. This truth shakes him, years of pain, and he never struck the real culprit. Trying to end it, he lets Teddy call his family to arrange a meeting, but Teddy tricks him, attacking and stealing his rifle. He reveals the house is empty, with the family out hunting, and mocks Dwight, saying his parents' killer smoked, drank, and died free while Dwight wasted his life chasing revenge. Just as Teddy is about to shoot, Ben appears and kills him, having followed quietly. They load Teddy's body into the car. Dwight explains everything: his parents' murder, Wade's release, and his desperate revenge. Ben listens, then gives him a smaller rifle, one easier to carry. Before Dwight leaves, he apologizes for dragging Ben into the mess. Ben reassures him, saying fighting back probably saved his life. They hug goodbye. Dwight takes the battery from Ben's car to stop him from following, then drives off. Dwight heads to the Cleland family home in the woods. Finding it empty, he breaks in and searches the house, discovering multiple hidden guns. To take away their advantage, he gathers all the weapons and throws them into a nearby lake. He even urinates on Big Wade's grave, a small act of spite. Inside, he builds barricades with furniture and waits for them to return. After a long wait, he falls asleep and wakes the next morning. He drags Teddy's body from the trunk and buries it in the yard, a grim warning. Later, he leaves a voicemail at the Cleland house. In it, he explains he knows the truth, that Teddy's dead, and that 2 people from each family are gone, so things are even. He asks them to end it now and leave his sister out of it. That night, Carl and his sisters return. They listen to the message, but Carl shouts that they'll kill Dwight's sister anyway. Without hesitation, Dwight shoots Carl dead. The sisters panic and beg him to stop. Dwight, emotional and worn down, tries to explain his reasoning, but the violence feels endless. William then sneaks in and shoots Dwight in the stomach. The sisters urge him to finish it, but the boy freezes, unwilling to kill. Bleeding badly, Dwight tells him he doesn't have to. He instructs William to take his car, hidden in the woods, and leave. Before he goes, Dwight reveals that William is actually his half-brother, the child of his father's affair. William leaves quietly. Inside, one of the Cleland sisters grabs a hidden machine gun and opens fire. A brutal shootout erupts. William hears the chaos but doesn't go back. When it ends, everyone inside is dead. Dwight lies among the bodies, finally letting go. The film closes with William walking away. Both families have been destroyed, but with him leaving, there's at least a chance for the cycle of revenge to finally end.